Marcus sat at his kitchen table with a cup of cold coffee, staring at the pile of bills in front of him. He was tired, the kind of tired that came from working 2 jobs and still not having enough money. His hands were rough from his main job at the construction company, and his back hurt from lifting heavy things all day. But he did not complain. He had 2 children to take care of, and that was what mattered most to him. It was now 1 month since his youngest daughter, Sophie, had come home from the hospital. She had gotten very sick with a fever that would not go away, and the doctor said she needed to stay in the hospital for 5 days. During those 5 days, Marcus sat by her bed and held her small hand. He was so scared. But Sophie got better, and now she was playing and running around the house like nothing had happened. The problem was that the hospital bills had not gone away. The bills kept coming in the mail. Some were big bills, some were small bills, but all of them made Marcus feel worried. He had health insurance, but it did not cover everything. He still owed the hospital almost $12,000. That was more money than he made in 3 months. The bank had also sent him a letter saying he was behind on his house payments. Marcus loved this small house. It was not big or fancy, but it was his home. His children played in the backyard. He could not lose it. Marcus had to do something. He was sitting at the table thinking about what to do when he had an idea. His house had 4 bedrooms. 1 was for him, 1 was for James, who was 11 years old, and 1 was for Sophie, who was 8. The 4th bedroom was empty. Nobody used it. There was a bed in there that his sister had given him, and a small desk by the window. Why not rent this room to someone? If he could find someone to pay him money every month, maybe he could pay some of these bills. That night, Marcus typed on his old computer. His fingers moved slowly because he was tired, but he wrote an advertisement for Craigslist. He wrote that he had a nice, clean bedroom to rent. He wrote that he was a single father with 2 children. He wrote that the room was $1,000 per year, which was about $400 per month. That was not very much money, but it was better than nothing. He posted it on the internet and went to bed. The next morning, Marcus woke up and checked his email. He had gotten 5 messages from people who wanted to rent the room. Some of them seemed strange. One man wrote that he wanted to have many parties in the room. Another woman wrote that she would only pay $200 per month, but one email was different. It was from a girl named Emma. Emma's email was short and polite. She wrote that she was a college student who wanted a quiet place to study. She wrote that she needed a room for 1 year. She wrote that she could pay $400 every month, and that she could move in as soon as possible. She wrote that she loved children, and would be a good person to have in the house. There was something about her email that felt right to Marcus. He wrote back to her right away. They set up a time to meet. On Saturday afternoon, a car pulled into Marcus's driveway. Out came a young woman with long brown hair and a kind smile. She looked to be about 20 years old. She was wearing jeans and a simple blue shirt. She was not wearing any makeup, and she looked like a normal college student. Her name was Emma Whitmore. Emma walked around the empty bedroom. She looked out the window at the backyard where Sophie was playing in the grass. She smiled. She asked Marcus about the neighborhood, about the schools, about the house. She seemed genuinely interested. They talked for almost 1 hour. Emma told Marcus that she was studying to help people in college. She said she worked part-time at a bookstore on campus. She said she grew up in different places because her father had moved a lot for his work. She said she wanted to live somewhere quiet and normal for a while. Marcus felt good about Emma. He told her the room was hers if she wanted it. Emma said yes, and they shook hands. She said she could move in next week. The day Emma moved in, she came with 1 small car full of things. She had a few boxes of books, some clothes, a small lamp, and not much else. Marcus was surprised by how little she had. Most college students seemed to have so much stuff. But Emma only had the things she needed. James and Sophie met Emma at the door. Sophie was shy at first, but Emma sat down on the floor and talked to her. She asked Sophie about her favorite colors and her favorite animals. Soon Sophie was laughing and showing Emma her toys. James was older and more careful, but he was polite and helped Emma carry her things upstairs. That first night, Marcus made dinner for everyone. It was simple food, just chicken and rice and vegetables, but Emma said it was delicious. She sat at the table with Marcus, James, and Sophie. She asked them questions about their day. She listened to Sophie talk about school. She helped James with his homework when he asked. After dinner, she helped Marcus wash the dishes. She moved around the kitchen like she knew where everything was, even though she had never been there before. When Emma went to her room that night, she closed the door quietly. Marcus stood in the hallway for a moment and felt something change in the house. It was not a big change, but it was real. The house suddenly felt less empty. The silence was different. It was less lonely. Over the next few days, Emma settled into the house. She paid her first month's rent, giving Marcus $400 in cash. She put it in an envelope and left it on the kitchen table. Marcus was grateful for every single dollar. He started making a plan for the bills. If Emma stayed for 1 year, he would have almost $5,000. That would help him pay some of the hospital bills. It would help him keep his house. Marcus did not know that this decision to rent out the empty room would change his life in ways he could never imagine. He did not know who Emma really was. He did not know about her father or her family or the truth she was hiding. He only knew that his house felt a little less heavy now. He only knew that his children had someone new to talk to and play with. He only knew that for the first time in months, he felt a little bit of hope. Emma, for her part, was also feeling something new. She had come to this small house on purpose, looking for something real. She had no idea that she had just found it. 3 weeks after Emma moved in, Marcus noticed that his house was different. It was not a big difference, but it was real. There was laughter now. There was someone else in the kitchen helping to cook dinner. There was someone to talk to when the children went to bed. Life felt less lonely. Emma had a way of making herself part of the family without pushing too hard. She did not act like a stranger living in their house. She acted like she belonged there. In the morning, she would come downstairs and eat breakfast with them. She would help Sophie find her shoes before school. She would sit with James while he ate his cereal and ask him about what he was learning in science class. By the time she left for her own classes at the community college, the house felt full in a way it had not been full in a long time. One evening, about 4 weeks after Emma arrived, something small happened that showed Marcus how much Emma had become part of their lives. Sophie had a nightmare and came running into Marcus's room at 2 a.m, crying and scared. Marcus held her and tried to comfort her, but Sophie was still very frightened. Then Emma appeared in the doorway. She had heard Sophie crying from her room upstairs. Without being asked, Emma sat on the bed next to Sophie and told her a funny story about a girl and a talking dog. Sophie started to smile. Emma stayed with them until Sophie fell asleep again. When Marcus thanked her, Emma just smiled and went back to bed. The next morning, James told his father that Emma was really cool. Marcus agreed with him. As time passed, Marcus started to notice small things about Emma that did not quite make sense. She always paid her rent on time, but she never seemed worried about money. One day, Marcus overheard her on the phone talking to someone. She said something about a house in the Hamptons. The Hamptons was a very expensive place where rich people lived. Why would a college student talk about the Hamptons? Another time, Emma mentioned that she had gone to Paris last summer. Paris was in France, and a trip there was very expensive. Marcus thought this was strange, but he did not ask her about it. Maybe her family was helping her, he thought. Emma worked part-time at a bookstore on campus, and she gave Marcus her schedule. But sometimes Marcus noticed that she came home with shopping bags full of expensive things. There were designer clothes in her closet. There were nice shoes. One day, Marcus accidentally saw her laptop, and it was a very expensive one, much better than the old computer he had at home. He started to wonder about Emma, but he did not want to be rude by asking too many questions. Sophie became very close to Emma very quickly. She called Emma her big sister. After school, Sophie would wait at the window for Emma to come home. When Emma arrived, Sophie would run to her and jump on her for a hug. Sophie would spend hours in Emma's room, talking to her or reading books with her. Emma had a lot of books, and she loved to read stories to Sophie. Marcus had never seen his daughter so happy. Her teacher even mentioned at the parent-teacher conference that Sophie seemed happier at school. Marcus knew it was because of Emma. One night, when Emma was helping Marcus cook dinner, she accidentally dropped a glass plate on the floor. It broke into many pieces. Emma looked at the broken plate and looked very sad. Marcus thought it was just a plate, so he was surprised by her reaction. But then Emma said that she was sorry and she offered to pay for a new one. Marcus told her it was no problem, that plates break all the time. But Emma insisted on paying for it. She gave him $20, which was much more than a plate cost. Marcus realized then that Emma felt bad about breaking something in his house. She cared about his things. She cared about his home. James was becoming more confident around Emma too. He had always been a quiet boy, but with Emma he talked more. He told her about his dreams of becoming a scientist. He showed her his science fair project about growing crystals. When Emma looked at his project, she did not just say nice things. She asked real questions. She helped him think about how to make it better. She told him she believed in him and that he would be a great scientist one day. Marcus heard James tell his friend at school about Emma, and he said that Emma was really smart and really nice. Sometimes Marcus would come home from work tired and hungry and not sure how he would make dinner for everyone. But Emma would already be in the kitchen cooking. She had bought groceries with her own money and was making something delicious. She would say to Marcus that she just felt like cooking, so she made enough for everyone. Marcus knew this was not true. Emma was helping him without making it seem like help. She was taking care of his family, and she was doing it in such a quiet way that it did not hurt Marcus's pride as a father. One afternoon, Emma was playing with Sophie in the living room while James did his homework at the table. Marcus came home and stood in the doorway watching his family without them noticing. Emma was on the floor with Sophie, and they were building something with blocks. Sophie was laughing so hard that her whole face was red. James was working on his homework, and he would look over sometimes at what Emma and Sophie were doing and smile. Marcus felt something warm in his chest. His house felt full of love. For the first time since his wife had left him 3 years ago, Marcus felt like his children had what they needed. They had a safe home. They had food. They had someone who cared about them. Emma had been living with them for 6 weeks now. She paid her rent every month without being asked. She helped with dishes and laundry. She made James feel smart. She made Sophie feel loved. She made Marcus feel like he was not alone anymore. But there were still small mysteries about Emma. Why did she never invite people to visit her? Why did she not have many friends around? Why did she drive such an old car when she seemed to have money? Why did she not want Marcus to know too much about her family? Marcus decided not to ask questions. He was happy. His children were happy. Emma seemed happy too. That was enough for him. He did not need to know everything about her past. What mattered was the present, and in the present his house had changed. It was no longer just a place where a tired man and 2 children lived. It was a home where people cared about each other. Emma, meanwhile, was discovering something too. She had come to this house looking for something real, something that did not cost money, something that the world of wealth and privilege could not give her, and she had found it. In the simple act of cooking dinner with Marcus, in the laughter of playing with Sophie, in helping James with his homework, Emma was finding something that made her feel alive in a way nothing else ever had. She did not know yet that this simple life she had chosen would soon be interrupted by secrets and surprises. But for now, she was just enjoying the moment, just enjoying being part of a real family. It started with a cough. Just a small cough that James had when he woke up one morning in November. Marcus did not think much about it. Children got coughs all the time, especially when the weather changed. But the cough did not go away. After 3 days, James started to run a fever. His temperature went up to 101 degrees. Marcus gave him medicine, but the fever came back when the medicine wore off. By the 4th day, James could not get out of bed. He was too tired and too sick. His breathing sounded strange, like there was something in his chest. Marcus called the doctor, and the doctor said to bring James to the emergency room right away. Emma was home when Marcus was getting ready to take James to the hospital. She saw Marcus putting a coat on James, and she asked what was wrong. When Marcus told her, Emma did not say anything. She just grabbed her jacket and said she was coming with them. At the hospital, the doctors checked James and took a picture of his chest. They said he had pneumonia. Pneumonia was a serious illness. His lungs had gotten infected. The doctors said he needed to stay in the hospital for at least a week so they could give him medicine through a needle in his arm. They could also watch him to make sure he got better. Marcus felt like his heart was breaking. He remembered when Sophie had been in the hospital just a few months before. He remembered the fear and the worry and the big bills that came after. Now it was happening again. Emma sat next to Marcus in the waiting room while the nurses took James to his hospital room. She held his hand and did not say anything. She did not need to say anything. Just having her there made Marcus feel a little less alone. That night, Marcus sat in a chair next to James's bed in the hospital room. He would not leave. He could not leave. James was his son, and his son was sick. Emma stayed at the hospital too. She sat in another chair and tried to sleep. At 2 in the morning, Marcus started to cry quietly. He was so tired. He was so scared. He was so worried about the bills. The hospital bills. They would be big. Maybe even bigger than Sophie's bills had been. He did not know how he would pay them. He did not know how he would keep his house. He did not know what he would do. Emma woke up and saw Marcus crying. She moved her chair close to his and put her arm around him. She told him that James would get better. She said she was sure of it. She told him that he was a good father and that he had done everything right. She stayed with him until he fell asleep. James stayed in the hospital for 6 days. Every day, Marcus went to work for half the day, and then he went to the hospital for the other half of the day. Sophie stayed with Emma. Emma picked Sophie up from school, made her dinner, helped her with her homework, and made sure she felt safe. Marcus's boss was kind and let him leave early every day. Emma drove Sophie to the hospital to visit James every afternoon. Sophie would sit on James's bed and tell him about school. Emma would sit quietly and sometimes read to James from his favorite book. By the 7th day, James was much better. His fever was gone, his breathing was normal. The doctor said he could go home, but he had to stay in bed and rest for 2 more weeks. Marcus was so relieved and so grateful. James was going to be okay. But then came the bills. The hospital sent the first bill 2 weeks after James came home. It was for $5,000. The second bill came a few days later. It was for $3,000. Then there were more bills: lab work, x-rays, medicine, doctor visits. By the time all the bills came, Marcus owed the hospital $14,000. $14,000. Marcus made about $2,000 a month. That meant he would need to work for almost 7 months just to pay these bills. 7 months of work for something that happened in just 6 days. Marcus sat at the kitchen table looking at the bills, and he felt like something was breaking inside him. He had already owed so much from Sophie's hospital stay. Now he owed more. He did not know what to do. He did not know how he would make it. That night, Marcus could not sleep. He went downstairs at 2 in the morning and sat in the dark kitchen. He was thinking about selling the house. He was thinking about moving to a smaller apartment. He was thinking about the life he was losing. He did not hear Emma come downstairs. She turned on the small light under the cabinet and saw Marcus sitting there. Emma did not say anything at first. She sat down next to him. Then Marcus told her everything. He told her about the bills. He told her about his fear. He told her that he did not know if he could keep his house. He told her that sometimes he felt like he was failing his children. His voice broke as he talked. Emma listened to everything he said. The next morning, Marcus woke up wondering if he had dreamed the conversation with Emma. But it had been real. He had told her his deepest fear. He had let her see him when he was not strong. He felt embarrassed, but he also felt relief. 3 days later, Marcus got a phone call from the hospital. It was a lady in the billing department. She said that someone had made an anonymous donation to pay for James's hospital bills. The entire bill had been paid, all $14,000. Marcus could not believe it. He asked the hospital lady who had paid it. She said she did not know. The money came from a bank, and the person who sent it did not want their name told. Marcus thought for a long time about who could have paid this bill. Only a few people knew how much he owed. Only a few people knew how scared he was. He thought about Emma. He thought about how she had been so kind. He thought about how she came from money, even if she did not talk about it much. He started to wonder if Emma had paid the bill. But that seemed impossible. That was too much money. That was too much to ask of anyone. That night, Marcus was making dinner when Emma came home from college. He looked at her carefully, trying to see if she was different in some way. She seemed normal. She smiled at him and asked what was for dinner. But Marcus could not stop wondering. He wanted to ask her. He wanted to know the truth, but he was scared of what the answer might be, and he was scared of what it would mean if Emma had really paid for his son's hospital bills. Marcus could not stop thinking about the anonymous donation. He thought about it at work. He thought about it when he was with his children. He thought about it when he saw Emma. He wanted to know the truth, but he did not know how to ask. 1 week after the bill was paid, Marcus decided he needed to talk to Emma. He felt confused and mixed up. Part of him was grateful. Part of him felt angry. Part of him felt ashamed because someone else had to help him pay for his son's medical care. That night, when Emma came home from college, Marcus asked her to sit down with him in the living room. James and Sophie were already in bed. Marcus told Emma that he knew someone had paid the hospital bill. He told her he was grateful, but he also wanted to know who had done it. He asked Emma directly if she had been the one. For a long moment, Emma did not say anything. She looked down at her hands. Then she started to cry. Emma told Marcus everything. She told him that her father was a very rich man. She told him that her father owned many companies and was very successful. She told him that she came from a world of money and expensive things, and that her father had a lot of power. But she told him that her father had made her come to college and live on a small allowance because he wanted her to understand what real life was like. He wanted her to understand that money was not everything. He wanted her to be a real person, not just someone who was born rich. Emma told Marcus that she had paid the hospital bill because she could not stand to watch him suffer. She told him that for her, $14,000 was not much money. She could pay it and not even miss it. She told him that it broke her heart to hear him cry in the kitchen at 2 a.m. She said she had to do something to help him. Marcus felt many emotions at the same time. He was angry because Emma had not told him the truth about who she was. He felt ashamed because a college student had paid for his son's medical bills. He felt stupid because he had not figured out the truth about Emma. He felt grateful because his son was alive and healthy, and the bills were paid. He felt confused because he did not know what this meant for Emma living in his house. Marcus asked Emma why she had not told him the truth from the beginning. Emma said she was afraid. She said that when people found out about her father's money, they treated her differently. They wanted things from her. They were not her real friends anymore. They liked her money, not her. When she came to live with Marcus and his family, they treated her like a real person. They liked her because of who she was, not because of what her family had. She said that being part of their family had made her feel more real than anything in her whole life. She could not give that up by telling them the truth. Marcus was quiet for a long time. He thought about Emma playing with Sophie. He thought about Emma helping James with his homework. He thought about Emma cooking dinner and cleaning the house and being part of their family. He realized that Emma was telling the truth. Emma had become part of his family because she loved them, not because of any other reason. Marcus asked Emma what her real name was. Emma laughed a little bit and said that Emma Whitmore was her real name. She said she had not lied about her name, just about everything else. Marcus asked her about her father. Emma said his name was Richard Whitmore and that he ran a big investment company. She said he had hired someone to watch over her and make sure she was safe while she was living away from home. That person had told her father about Marcus and his family. Her father approved of her living there because he could see that she was safe and happy. After that night, things changed in Marcus's house, but not in the way Marcus had worried about. Emma did not move out. Marcus did not ask her to move out. Instead, they had a new understanding. Emma was not just a tenant now. She was family. Marcus told her that she could keep living there for as long as she wanted. He told her that her secret was safe with him. He told her that he understood why she had not told him the truth at first. 2 weeks later, Emma's father called Marcus. This surprised Marcus very much. Emma gave him the phone and Richard Whitmore's voice came through. It was a strong voice, a confident voice, a voice used to giving orders and being listened to, but it was also kind. Richard thanked Marcus for taking care of his daughter. He said that Emma had told him everything about living in Marcus's house. He said that he was proud of Emma for living a real life and learning what mattered in the world. He said that he wanted to help Marcus, but he knew Marcus was a proud man. He asked if there was anything he could do that would not hurt Marcus's pride. Marcus thought about the bills he still had. He thought about the mortgage he was behind on. He thought about the stress he carried every day. Then he thought about how much his children loved Emma. He thought about how happy they were. He told Richard that he did not need money, but he would like Richard to visit his home and get to know his daughter's new family. He said that Emma had become part of their lives and he would like her father to know them too. Richard said yes. He said he would come visit the following weekend. When Richard arrived on Saturday morning, he was not what Marcus expected. Richard was a tall man in an expensive suit, but he was also kind and warm. He brought gifts for James and Sophie, but more importantly, he sat down and talked to them. He asked them about their school and their friends and their dreams. He listened to Sophie talk about Emma being like her big sister. He listened to James talk about his science projects. Richard pulled Marcus aside and thanked him for being kind to Emma. He said that Emma had needed to learn about real life, and Marcus had given her that gift. He said that Emma was becoming a better person because of Marcus's family. He told Marcus that if Marcus ever needed help in the future, Marcus should call him. Marcus believed him. That night, Marcus watched his children, Emma and Richard, sitting together in his living room, laughing and talking. He realized that his life had changed in ways he could never have planned. He realized that sometimes the most important things that happened to us were the ones we never saw coming. He realized that his house was no longer just a place where a tired man and his 2 children tried to survive. It was now a true home full of real love and real family. 6 months had passed since Emma's father had first visited Marcus's home. The small house had changed in many ways. Emma was still living there, but no longer as a tenant. She was family. She had her own key and her own place at the dinner table. She had her own spot on the couch where she always sat when they watched movies together. Her name was on the birthday cake that Marcus made for everyone in December. During those 6 months, Richard had visited many times. He had become a real person to James and Sophie, not just a rich man from far away. He had helped James build a science project about solar energy. He had taken Sophie to the movie theater on her birthday. He had also worked with Marcus to help pay off some of the remaining medical bills from Sophie's hospital stay. Marcus had not wanted to take the money at first, but Richard explained that it was not charity. It was the right thing to do for a family member. Richard considered Marcus part of his family now. Emma continued to live in Marcus's house and go to college. Her grades were excellent. She had a grade point average of 4.0, which was the highest possible grade. Her teachers noticed that she was an excellent student because she cared about learning and helping others, not just about getting good grades. One of her teachers asked Emma what she wanted to do with her life. Emma told her that she wanted to be a social worker. She wanted to help families in need. She wanted to help people like Marcus who struggled but never gave up on their dreams. Emma's decision to become a social worker came from her time in Marcus's home. She had learned that the most important thing in life was not money. It was love and care and helping other people. She had learned this lesson by living with a father who had very little money but so much love for his children. Emma knew that she wanted to spend her life helping people like Marcus and his children. In May, something wonderful happened. Emma found out that she had been accepted to a big university to finish her last 2 years of college. The university had given her a full scholarship. This meant that she did not have to pay any money for her education. The scholarship would pay for everything. Emma was going to study social work and become a social worker who helped families in need. But Emma also knew that she would have to leave Marcus's house. The university was in a different city, 1 hour away. Students had to live near the university, so Emma would need to move into a dorm, which is a building where college students live. She would not be able to live with Marcus and James and Sophie anymore. When Emma told the family about the scholarship and the university, everyone was happy, but everyone was also sad. James said that he would miss Emma helping him with his homework. Sophie started to cry because she did not want her big sister to leave. Marcus was proud of Emma, but his heart was heavy because he had become used to Emma being part of his life every single day. Emma cried too. She told them that she would miss them so much. She said that living with them had changed her life. She said that she had found something real in their home that she could never find anywhere else. She said that they would always be her family, even if she did not live with them anymore. She promised that she would visit every weekend. The week before Emma left, Marcus asked her to go with him to the grocery store. In the car, Marcus told Emma something that he had never told her before. He told her that when she had first come to live in his house, he was broken. He was tired and scared and did not know how he would take care of his children. Emma had healed something inside him. She had shown him that there were still kind people in the world. She had shown his children that love was real and true. He told Emma that he would be grateful to her for the rest of his life. Emma reached over and held Marcus's hand. She told him that he had healed her too. She said that she had come to his house looking for something real, and she had found it. She said that Marcus had taught her that love was more important than money. She said that the time she spent in his home had made her a better person. She said that she loved him and James and Sophie like they were her real family. On the day Emma left for the university, the whole family made a special dinner. It was Emma's favorite meal with all of her favorite foods. After dinner, Sophie put her head on Emma's shoulder and fell asleep. James gave Emma a gift that he had made for her. It was a picture frame that said, "I love my big sister" in big letters. James had made it in art class. Marcus gave Emma a small notebook. He told her to write about her new life at the university so she could share her stories with them. That night, before Emma went to sleep in her bedroom for the last time, Marcus came and knocked on her door. He brought a photo album. It had pictures of Emma with James and Sophie. It had pictures of Emma cooking in the kitchen. It had pictures of Emma playing in the backyard. It had pictures of the whole family laughing and being happy together. Marcus told Emma to take this album with her, so she would never forget her time in his home. Emma held the album and cried happy tears. The next morning, Marcus drove Emma to the university. It was a quiet drive. Emma looked out the window and thought about everything that had happened. She thought about that first day when she moved into the empty bedroom. She thought about all the dinners they had eaten together. She thought about all the homework she had helped James with. She thought about all the stories she had read to Sophie at bedtime. When they got to the university, Marcus helped Emma move her things into her dorm room. The room was small and plain, nothing like Emma's bedroom at Marcus's house. After Marcus left, Emma looked around her new room and felt a little bit scared. But then she took out the photo album that Marcus had given her. She looked at the pictures of her family and she felt less scared. She knew that she was not alone. She knew that she had real people who loved her. Emma studied hard in her first year at the university. Every weekend she came back to visit Marcus and the children. She would arrive on Friday afternoon and leave on Sunday night. On those weekends, she would make dinner with Marcus, help James with his homework, and read stories to Sophie. Life went back to the way it had been, at least for those 2 days. A year later, Marcus received a letter from the university. Emma had graduated from her 2 final years of college. She had done excellent work and had won a special award for her studies. The letter said that Emma was going to work for an organization that helped families in need. She was going to be a social worker who helped people like the people she had lived with in Marcus's home. That summer, Marcus watched Emma at her college graduation. She walked across the stage in her graduation robe, and Marcus felt so proud. His children cheered for her. Emma looked out into the crowd and found their faces. She smiled the biggest smile. After the graduation ceremony, Emma came and found them. She gave Marcus a long hug. She told him that she would never have been able to do this without him. She told him that their family was her real family. She told him that when she helped other families as a social worker, she would remember how much their love had meant to her. Marcus realized then that his decision to rent out that empty bedroom to a college girl had changed his entire life. It had brought him back from the darkness. It had brought his children a sister. It had brought him a daughter. It had brought love and light back into his home. And in doing so, he had also changed Emma's life. He had helped her become the person she was meant to be. Life had taught Marcus something very important. He learned that sometimes the best things in life come when we are brave enough to take a chance. He learned that sometimes a stranger becomes family. He learned that love is the most real and most important thing in the world.